Between the silent lands and the star-filled sky, there are people who live simple lives yet carry grand dreams within. This story begins with a shepherd boy, and from a quiet longing that guides him farther than he ever imagined. By the time the shepherd Santiago managed to herd the sheep back to the ancient, ruined church, dusk was falling. The church had lost its roof long ago, and where the sacristy once stood, a large mulberry tree now rose. He decided to spend the night there. After herding the sheep through the damaged doorway, he blocked it with a few wooden planks. Even though there were no wolves in the area, there had been a night when a sheep wandered off, forcing him to spend the entire next day searching for it. He spread his jacket on the ground, lay back, and used the book he was reading as a pillow. Before falling asleep, he reminded himself to be more careful in the future. When he awoke, it was still pitch dark. Looking up at the sky, he saw stars twinkling between the rafters. "I still want to keep sleeping," he thought to himself. He had just dreamed the same dream he'd had a week before, and once again, he awoke in the middle of it. He sat up, took a sip of wine, then used his shepherd's crook to rouse the sheep, one by one. More and more, he had the feeling that the animals were waking up with him, as if there were a secret harmony between his life and the lives of the animals that had been following him for the past 2 years, moving from place to place, searching for food and water. "They're so used to me that they know my schedule," he thought. But after a moment of reflection, he considered that it might well be the opposite, that he had grown used to theirs. A few of them refused to get up right away. He took a stick to rouse them, calling each one by name. He always had the feeling that the sheep understood what he was saying. So sometimes he would read them passages from the books he especially liked, or philosophize about the solitary life and the joys of being a shepherd, or comment on the latest news from the towns he often passed through. But for the past 2 days, he had spoken of almost nothing else. The daughter of a merchant in the little town that he and his flock would reach in 4 days' time. Last year was the first time he had visited this merchant, the owner of a fabric shop. The man had insisted on shearing the sheep right in front of his store to avoid being cheated. An acquaintance had recommended this shop to him back then, and now he was leading his flock there again. "I want to sell my wool," he had said to the merchant on that occasion. The shop was full of customers, so the man asked the shepherd to wait until the afternoon. So he sat down right on the curb in front of the shop and pulled a book out of his bag.
"I didn't know shepherds could read,"
a girl's voice said right beside him. It was a true Andalusian girl. Andalusia, a region in southern Spain, bordering the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, with long black hair and eyes that faintly echoed the Moors. The Moors, a nomadic people from North Africa who ruled Spain from the 8th to the 15th century, who had invaded long ago.
"Because my flock has taught me more things than books have,"
he replied. The two of them chatted away for over 2 hours. For his part, the shepherd told her about the landscapes of Andalusia and the interesting news from the places he had been. He was delighted to have someone who would listen to his stories.
"How did you learn to read?"
She wanted to know.
"In school, like everyone else.
he replied.
But if you can read, why be just a simple shepherd?
She asked. He felt a pang of frustration, certain his explanation would be lost on her. To dodge the question, he rambled on about his travels. Her dark eyes, with their ancient, Moorish cast, would grow round with wonder, then narrow in rapt attention as he spoke. Time passed, and he secretly wished the day would never end, or that her father would keep him waiting for another 3 days. He felt a strange new sensation he had never known before, a longing to settle down in one place, with this girl by his side. No day would ever be dull again. But then the merchant came, asked him to shear 4 of his sheep, paid him on the spot, and told him to come back next year. Now, there were only 4 days left until he reached that city. His heart was both eager and anxious. What if the girl had long since forgotten him? Plenty of shepherds pass through there to sell their wool.
It doesn't matter,
he said aloud to his sheep.
I've got plenty of girls in plenty of other cities, anyway.
But deep down, he knew it did matter. For any shepherd, sailor, or traveling merchant, there always came a day when they met someone who made them forget the joy of a life without roots, roaming under the vast sky.